My dear friend, pull up a chair and let me tell you something that might just save your heart and give you a few extra years to laugh at my terrible jokes. I know you're 60 now, and you think you've got life all figured out when it comes to food. You've survived the diet fads, the no-fat craze, the cabbage soup nonsense, and that time everybody swore by grapefruits until they realized it made their blood pressure pills go haywire. But let me tell you, at 80 years old, I've seen more kitchen disasters and food tragedies than you can imagine. And nothing shocks me anymore, except maybe the fact that some vegetables, yes, vegetables, those little green darlings we were always told would save our lives, might actually be stabbing us in the heart. I know. If your mother was anything like mine, she probably chased you around the house with a spoonful of peas, screaming, "Eat your veggies or you'll never grow strong." And yet here I am, strong enough at 80 to still bend over and tie my shoes, though sometimes it takes me a whole 5 minutes and a prayer. But friend, the truth is that not all vegetables are created equal. Some of them, sneaky little devils, can actually harm your heart, especially when we reach the golden years. And trust me, at this age, I don't take any chances with my ticker. It's already been through enough excitement. 2 marriages, 1 divorce, and the time I tried to dance the tango at my granddaughter's wedding. My heart nearly filed for early retirement. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to throw out your garden or boycott the farmer's market. No. But you need to know which vegetables, when eaten too often, can cause more harm than good for seniors like you and me. And if you think this is boring, oh no, don't you dare leave yet, because once you hear which veggies are on the naughty list, you're going to be running to your fridge faster than I run to the bathroom after a cup of coffee. So, my dear, let's go through these 6 vegetables one by one, and between each, I'll tell you a little story from my long life. Because you know me, I can't just say, "Don't eat this," without rambling about how I once tried to cook it and ended up nearly blowing up the kitchen. The first vegetable that seniors like us need to be careful with is corn. Ah yes, sweet corn, the golden sunshine on a cob, the staple of barbecues, picnics, and bad dental visits. I know you love your corn on the cob, slathered in butter, a little salt, and maybe even some pepper. It tastes like summer. But here's the problem. Corn is high in starch, which means it spikes your blood sugar faster than my grandkids spike my blood pressure when they start fighting over who gets the last slice of pizza. And when your blood sugar goes up and down like a roller coaster, your heart pays the price. I remember one time, back in my 50s, I ate so much corn at a family cookout, I thought I was going to turn into popcorn myself. My daughter looked at me and said, "Dad, you're chewing so fast, it looks like you're trying to set a world record." I told her, "Sweetheart, the only record I'm setting is how fast I can clog an artery." Sure enough, I felt sluggish, my heart was racing, and I had to lie down on the hammock. Except the hammock wasn't securely properly, and the whole thing flipped over. I ended up on the ground staring at the sky, thinking, well, at least I don't have to get up for dessert now. See, friend, corn isn't evil, but when eaten too often, it can strain the heart with its hidden sugar, and seniors need to watch that carefully. Think of your heart like an old car. You can't just put any cheap fuel in it and expect it to run smoothly. You gotta treat it with respect, or else it'll stall on you when you need it most. Now, let's move on to number 2, which is pickled vegetables. Oh boy, I know you probably love a good crunchy pickle. Who doesn't? It's tangy, it's salty, makes your sandwich feel like a gourmet meal. But here's the catch. Pickled vegetables are packed with sodium, and too much sodium is like a wrecking ball for your heart. At our age, our kidneys don't work as efficiently as they used to. Trust me, I know. My kidneys are basically 2 old employees on strike half the time. Too much salt makes our blood pressure skyrocket, and that puts us right on the fast track to heart problems. Let me tell you about my Uncle George. He loved pickles more than life itself. He'd eat 'em straight from the jar, one after another, crunching so loud you could hear 'em down the street. One day, the doctor told him to cut back on salt because his blood pressure was higher than a kite on the 4th of July. But did George listen? No. He said, "What's life without a little crunch?" Well, friend, I'll tell you, his heart eventually gave him a crunch back, and not in the fun way. So that's why I'm begging you, friend, don't drown yourself in pickled vegetables. A slice here and there is fine, but don't go eating them like popcorn during a movie marathon. Your heart will thank you. Now, before I go to the third one, let me pause and say something important. You see, friend, I don't just share these things because I like to talk. Well, okay, I do like to talk. I could talk to a tree stump if it had ears. But I share this because I care about you. You're 60, which means you've got a good chance of living another 20, 30 years if you treat yourself right. And I want you to live those years with energy, laughter, and maybe even dancing at your great-grandchild's wedding. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, do me a favor. Don't just sit there. Tap that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll never miss my ramblings, my jokes, and most importantly, my advice that might just add some precious years to your life. And who knows, maybe we'll grow this little family of ours into something even more beautiful. All right, back to business. The third vegetable you need to be careful with is eggplant. Oh yes, the purple beauty. Looks harmless, doesn't it? But here's the truth. Eggplant contains something called solanine, a compound that, when eaten in excess, can cause inflammation. And at our age, inflammation is like that uninvited guest who shows up at the party and refuses to leave. It affects the heart, the joints, and everything in between. I'll never forget the time I tried to impress my second wife with an eggplant parmesan. I spent hours in the kitchen, slicing, breading, frying. By the time I was done, I was sweating more than I did on my wedding day. I served it proudly, waiting for her reaction. She took one bite, smiled politely, and said, "It's interesting." Now, friend, let me tell you something. When a woman says something is interesting, that means you failed. And my stomach agreed. That night, I had heartburn so bad I thought I was going to meet my ancestors. So yes, eggplant in moderation is okay, but seniors need to be mindful. Too much can lead to inflammation and heart strain, and nobody wants that. Now let's talk about number 4, which is potatoes. Oh, don't cry yet. I know we all love potatoes. Fried, mashed, roasted, baked. They're like the best friend of every meal. But potatoes are loaded with starch, just like corn, and they can spike your blood sugar like a rocket. For seniors, that means more risk for diabetes and heart complications. Back in my 40s, I went through a phase where I ate French fries almost every day. Don't judge me, it was the 80s, and McDonald's fries were practically a religion. Well, by the time I hit 50, my doctor told me my cholesterol was higher than my grandson's video game scores. I had to cut back, and let me tell you, it wasn't easy. I love fries more than I love disco, and that's saying something. But listen to me, friend. Potatoes in small amounts are fine, but when you make them a staple, your heart suffers. Your arteries can't handle the starch overload forever. It's like pouring cement into your pipes and wondering why the water won't flow. Now we've got 2 more to go, and trust me, the last ones will surprise you even more. But before we get there, take a deep breath and think about this. How many of these veggies are in your kitchen right now? Go on, admit it. You've got corn in the freezer, pickles in the fridge, eggplant in the basket, and potatoes on the counter. Don't feel guilty, I've been there too. The key is not to panic, but to be smart. All right, let's keep going. Number 5 is canned vegetables. Yes, I said canned. You know why? Because those things are swimming in preservatives and sodium. They last forever, sure, but they're like a time bomb for your heart. I get it, they're convenient. Pop open a can, heat it up, dinner's ready. But convenience often comes at a price, and the price is your health. I once found a can of green beans in the back of my pantry that had been sitting there for 10 years. 10 years! I opened it up and it looked the same as the day I bought it. That should have been my first clue something wasn't right. food isn't supposed to outlive your dog. And finally, number 6, the one that surprises most people, spinach. Yes, spinach, the so-called superfood. But here's the catch. Spinach is high in oxalates, which can contribute to kidney stones and calcium imbalances. And when your kidneys and calcium are out of whack, your heart is at risk. I used to think eating spinach would make me strong like Popeye, but the truth is, too much spinach nearly sent me to the ER with kidney issues. Turns out I'm not Popeye, I'm just Paul, and Paul needs to watch his spinach. So there you have it, friend. 6 vegetables you need to be careful with: corn, pickled veggies, eggplant, potatoes, canned vegetables, and spinach. Each of them has their dangers, especially for seniors like us. The trick isn't to cut them out completely, but to eat them wisely, in moderation, and with respect for this old body of ours. Because at the end of the day, your heart is the engine that keeps you going. And at 80 years old, I've learned that you can't trade in your engine for a new one. You've got to take care of the one you've got, so it'll carry you through the dances, the laughs, the tears, and all the memories yet to be made. Now don't go anywhere just yet. I still got more stories and more wisdom to share, because you know me, I never run out of words. Stick with me, and let's keep walking this road together, one laugh and one piece of advice at a time. Now, friend, where were we? Ah, yes. We had just gone through those 6 sneaky vegetables that could be quietly working against your heart. But you know me, I can't just stop there. No, if I stop, it feels like I left you hanging with a half-told story, and that's just not my style. Besides, at 80 years old, I've got enough stories rattling around in my head to fill an entire library, and you're the unlucky soul who gets to hear them all. You see, talking about food always takes me back. Isn't it funny how every dish, every ingredient, every bite you've ever taken has a memory attached? A bowl of mashed potatoes makes me think of Sunday dinners with my parents. A jar of pickles reminds me of sneaking into the fridge at midnight as a teenager. And spinach? Well, spinach reminds me of the time I tried to flex like Popeye after eating a big bowl of it, only for my grandkids to laugh so hard they nearly fell off the couch. They said, "Grandpa, your muscles look more like balloons that lost their air." I had to admit they weren't wrong. But friend, it's not just about what we should avoid. It's about why. When you hit 60, and especially at 80 like me, you start realizing how fragile this old body can be. It's like an antique car, beautiful, full of character, but you've got to take care of it gently. You can't slam the gas, you can't pour in cheap oil, and you certainly can't ignore the rattles and squeaks. Same with the heart. This heart of mine has been through decades of love, stress, joy, heartbreak, and even too much fried chicken at county fairs. And if I've learned anything, it's that what you feed it matters more than almost anything else. Now let me confess something to you. I wasn't always careful. In fact, for much of my life, I ate whatever I wanted. Burgers, fries, piles of mashed potatoes, drowning in gravy. I treated vegetables like an afterthought, except for corn and potatoes, which, as I told you, weren't doing me any favors anyway. And you know what happened? By the time I hit 65, I had my first scare. My doctor looked me in the eye and said, "Paul, if you don't change how you eat, your heart is going to quit on you sooner rather than later." I'll tell you, that was the first time I felt real fear. Not fear like when you're a kid and you think there's a monster under the bed. No, this was grown-up fear, the kind that grabs your chest and makes you think about whether you'll be around long enough to see your grandkids graduate. That was my wake-up call. I had to rethink food completely. And it wasn't easy, because let me tell you, habits are like stubborn mules. Once they're set, they don't like to move. But I realized something. If I want to be around, if I want to laugh with my family, tease my friends, and tell you stories like this one, I had to start making smarter choices. So, while I'm warning you about those 6 vegetables, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Vegetables are still important, but we've got to be wise. Think of it like this. Some foods are like old friends. They lift you up, make you feel better, and give you strength. Others are like those shady characters who smile at you while secretly plotting to steal your wallet. The 6 I mentioned, they're the shady characters of the vegetable world. They look innocent, but behind the scenes, they're stirring up trouble in your heart. Now, let me tell you about one night, about 10 years ago. I was at a potluck with some church friends. You know the kind of potluck, long tables filled with casseroles, pies, and enough starch to sink a ship. I was trying to be good, but then I saw this giant potato casserole loaded with cheese and cream. My mouth watered just looking at it. I told myself, Paul, just 1 scoop. Well, you know how that goes. 1 scoop turned into 3. By the end of the night, I was leaning back in my chair, clutching my chest, wondering if it was my last supper. Turns out it was just indigestion, but friend, the fear was real. I realized then that these foods, these so-called comfort foods, weren't really comforting me. They were betraying me. It's funny though, every time I talk about this, people say, but Paul, everything is bad for you these days. What are we supposed to eat? Air? And I laugh, because that's exactly how it feels sometimes. But here's the truth. It's not about avoiding everything. It's about balance, moderation, and paying attention to how your body reacts. Your body talks to you. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it screams. And at our age, we better start listening. Speaking of listening, you know what I've noticed about people our age? We like to joke about our aches and pains, but deep down, most of us are scared. Scared of losing our independence. Scared of becoming a burden. Scared of our hearts giving out. I know that fear. Friend, I've looked it in the eye, and I'm telling you, one of the best ways to push back against it is to take control of what we eat. And let me slip in here again for those of you watching this on YouTube. If you're finding this helpful, if you're laughing along with my stories and nodding your head, please go ahead and hit that like button. Leave me a comment about which of these veggies surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe, because I've got a whole lot more wisdom and nonsense to share with you. This little community is growing, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. All right, now let's go deeper, because I want you to not only know what to avoid, but also to know what to embrace. If corn is too starchy, reach for leafy greens that are gentler on the heart, like kale or arugula. If pickled veggies are too salty, go for fresh cucumbers or carrots instead. If potatoes are too heavy, try sweet potatoes in moderation. They're kinder to your blood sugar. Life doesn't end when you cut back on these 6. In fact, life might just get better. You know, one of the greatest joys of getting older is realizing that you don't have to impress anyone anymore. I don't need to eat a big steak just to look manly. I don't need to shovel down mashed potatoes to prove I can keep up with the young ones. No, I've earned the right to eat what makes me feel good, not what makes me look good. And what makes me feel good these days is food that doesn't leave me bloated, breathless, or in pain. Let me tell you about last week. My granddaughter came over. She's 25 and full of energy. She cooked me a simple meal: grilled salmon, quinoa, and a big salad with olive oil. Now, when she first set it down, I thought, where's the real food? Where's the bread, the potatoes, the gravy? But after I ate it, I felt light, energized, even a little younger. I didn't need a nap afterward. And that's the thing, friend. The right foods give you life, not just fullness. I think about my old buddies, the ones who didn't take care of themselves. Some of them are gone now, too early. Others are struggling with constant health problems. And you know what? A lot of it traces back to diet. They didn't think it mattered. They thought they were invincible. But none of us are. Not me, not you, not anyone. Now, let me circle back to spinach for a second, because I can see you raising your eyebrow. Paul, you're probably thinking, did you really just tell me not to eat spinach? And yes, I did. But let me clarify. Spinach isn't the devil. It has its benefits. But if you overdo it, the oxalates can cause problems. The key is moderation. Don't eat a whole bucket of spinach every day thinking you're turning into Popeye. Eat a small portion, mix it up with other greens, and you'll be just fine. Balance, balance, balance. That's the secret to everything. Friend, I want you to promise me something. Promise me that you'll pay attention from now on. Don't just eat something because it's labeled healthy. Dig deeper. Ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Is this helping my heart or hurting it? At 60, you've got time to make changes that will carry you gracefully into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And I want to be there with you, laughing, telling stories, maybe even dancing one more tango if my knees hold out. I'll close with this thought. Food is powerful. It can heal or harm, lift you up or drag you down. And while these 6 vegetables might not be deadly in small doses, they're not the heroes we once thought they were. Your heart deserves the best because it's carried you through every laugh, every tear, every love, every loss. Don't betray it now with foods that don't love you back. So seniors, listen carefully. Be cautious with corn, pickled veggies, eggplant, potatoes, canned vegetables, and yes, even spinach. Respect your heart, respect your body, and you'll be rewarded with more years to love, laugh, and live fully. And if you forget everything else I said today, just remember this: your health is in your hands, one bite at a time. Now, my dear friend, let's go pour ourselves some tea, sit back, and keep talking. Because if there's one thing I've learned in 80 years, it's that the best medicine isn't just food, it's friendship, laughter, and good company like yours.